let's bring in Dr. Khalid Al-Khater here in Doha. I think you would agree with what most of what Shafiqa Gabra has said, that Qatar has found a new way to deal with the outside world economically, regardless of the imposition of an embargo. How are you assessing the situation as an economist?
You want me to assess the strength of the Qatari economy to withstand this blockade? Okay, the Qatari economy derives its strength from two sources. First, the vast natural resources bestowed in this country, and then the sound economic policy adopted by the government over the boom years to utilize these resources, and the macro stabilization policy to stabilize the economy. Qatar invested heavily in infrastructure to extract and export natural gas to the world, and from the third largest reserve in the world, and became the largest exporter and producer and exporter of natural gas to the world. And that provides sustainable source of income.
How do you see it dealing right now? How do you see it
adapting
to what's happening?
I think Qatar is adapting very well and dealing very well. First of all, let's be honest. After about half a century of exporting oil, we failed in the GCC to diversify our economy, and so basically we have one product and we export, which is oil, and we import almost everything else we need, from consumption good to capital good to labor from overseas. So there is not much to exchange between us, and the intra-trade between the GCC country relative to the world remain stagnant at 10% over decades now. So there is not much to pressure on Qatar through the trade sanction, and Qatar can easily easily find alternative source of import, and they lose the Qatari market, plus they lose ethically. So far Qatar is diversifying its means and sources of import from other country.
In short, do you think it can weather the storm? It can weather sanctions?
Yes, very well. We import 4% from Saudi Arabia. This is not like Germany with its neighboring smaller state, which export about 60% of their needs. So you can really hurt them. So basically, we, Qatar, have the first line of import, as I call it, extending from Turkey to Iran to Pakistan to India and Oman. It has giant infrastructure facility to import seaport and world-class airport. Okay,
yeah, that's perfect. Let's just bring in Hilary Mann-Leverett here, except from two major players in the GCC. Dr. Khalid Al-Khater, let's talk about these sanctions. I mean, what are the implications of the trade sanctions in the short term and the long term?
Over the short term, we can see there, because of was sudden, so the little import that we import, the share of import from UAE is about 9%, and mostly re-export through Dubai, Jabal Ali, and this can be rerouted through other, already through Oman, and from Saudi Arabia is about 4%, and from Bahrain is 1%, and as I said, this is not like Germany, 60%, and mostly food item, construction material, and chain supply, and this can be easily supplied from other neighboring country like Turkey already, Iran and India and Pakistan, and then you have countries in Europe and country in Asia and country and Australia, and then you have the rest of the world. This is over the short term. However, over the long term, we say what we have been saying for many years as an economist to the GCC country, that we have to diversify our production structure with the objective to achieve sustainable growth and development. And this time I want to emphasize clearly and loudly food security and water security, in order not to jeopardize our food security or economic security or sovereign political decision. So we have to.
It seems that Qatar is learning a very large lesson.
I believe that Qatar will come out of this crisis stronger than before, more self-dependent, and we have to listen to the local producer, whether in agriculture or in manufacturing. We have to address their concern. We have to support them, give them the right incentive to enhance production, address the monopolistic structure in the economy, promote competitiveness, employ technology and innovation to deal with the harsh environment.
Lots of lessons to be learned.
You have to redirect manufacturing policy toward addressing shortage and need in construction sector.
And a lot to think program. Just want to try and get Dr. Khalid Al-Khater here to also sort of come in on the whole issue of, we're talking about sanctions and the diplomacy that's going on and the damage that's been caused. But there's a damage to the GCC, isn't there, as well? And this is an area that wanted to, at one stage, have a unified currency.
Yes. The damage is the rift is very deep. And the future of if you want to ask me about the future of the GCC, I would say, what is the future of this country? Definitely, it's not a bright due to lack of vision, leadership lack of vision in this country.
Within the GCC?
I mean the GCC.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems to be that these dictatorships are resisting any change, resisting any political reform, the slightest political and economic reform, and they are taking it forward.
Yeah.
And the whole issue is they want to shut up. I mean, not you personally. No. They want Al Jazeera to shut up after reinstating the dictatorship.
Indeed. Let's hope they don't get Al Jazeera to shut up.
In the Arab Spring country and the devastating, tragic situation in Syria and in Yemen and Iraq, it seems to be that Qatar and Al Jazeera are the only voice now that speaks the ambition of Arab country for dignity, for justice and for political and economic reform. And this is really annoying to them, and they are very nervous about this.
Well, we shall see what certainly happens to the GCC and maybe the future of Al Jazeera too.